Hello everyone, it is episode 13 of There's Treasure Inside Edition, and it is the 18th of March 2025. For those of you who are listening on audio only, we have some visual today, adding some visual to the show. Hello management, you exist, you're real. How are you doing?
I do, I'm a real person. People can see my face now.
That's great. So what have you been up to? So we couldn't make it last week, you were feeling sickly. Are you doing better now?
Still a little sickly, but it gives me this nice raspy voice, which is not normal. So enjoy it while it lasts.
But a lot's been happening, as always. And since we've been off for 2 weeks, there's even more happening. And we'll get into it very soon. But let's start off with the news of the week.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so news of the week. It's been in all of the chats and all of the other shows. But if you haven't caught on to it yet, Netflix is doing a 3-part series called Golden Greed about the Forrest Fenn hunt.
My understanding is that one of the people that's in the series is launching his own hunt, and he's using parts of Forrest Fenn's treasure. So the Forrest Fenn hunt is the subject of the documentary. So there's a bunch of stuff happening just in about a week or two. They're going to release the documentary. This hunt is going to launch called Beyond the Map's Edge, I believe, with a new book. And those are all the people that are listening are into There's Treasure Inside. It's, I wouldn't say a rival, but it's potentially just as big as There's Treasure Inside, this new hunt with millions of dollars. So it's going to be very exciting. I think we should cover them both. A lot of people in the There's Treasure Inside community actually also worked on the Forrest Fenn treasure. So there's a lot of people excited about that. For those of you who, like me, got into this after the Forrest Fenn treasure, you could just look on the sidelines and watch what happened and don't have as much emotionally invested like some of these other people do. Are you like that as well, management?
I am not as emotionally invested, but all you have to do is join one of the many groups online, and there will be plenty of Forrest Fenn people that are willing to give you a short course in everything Forrest Fenn. But I personally found out about Forrest Fenn after the hunt through the Apple podcast, which is really good.
I think when you say people are happy to give you a short summary, that's maybe not accurate. People are very happy to give you the long summary of everything that happened. It's very hard to get it compacted. But maybe that's what this Netflix documentary will be like. We'll get the short summary.
Oh my God, I never want to say the name Forrest Fenn ever again because people are terrifying. Those Fenn people will come at you.
Oh, really? Even more so than before?
Oh my God. Anytime I post Forrest Fenn anything on YouTube, it's absolutely insane.
It's a big deal. I mean, those who are listening to our show are interested in There's Treasure Inside. The name of our podcast is There's Treasure Inside Edition. But you could also look at it, the name of our podcast is There's Treasure Inside Edition. And this is just another There's Treasure. So I'm excited about it. It's not a small hunt. It rivals the John Collins Black There's Treasure Inside in terms of millions of dollars being hidden from my understanding. So this is going to be launched when the Netflix documentary also launches. So there's going to be a lot happening at one time. Are you thinking you might get involved in this hunt, or are you going to stick to There's Treasure Inside?
You know, I just can't see myself making it out to the West Coast anytime soon. You know, that's why John Collins Black made this hunt to where there's always one nearby you. I personally have an affinity for the Appalachian Trail, so it works out well that there's a box related to that, but also that's probably going to be the closest one to me here in Florida. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get sucked into it, though, and want to do the puzzles.
I think a lot of people are looking for a break sometimes, especially when they've been working on one box. But that's the thing with There's Treasure Inside. There's 5 different boxes. You don't have to focus on one box. You can focus on different things. But for those who have focused on 5 boxes consistently and want something different, this might be something that they want to do, is go and find something completely different, take their mind off the word search, which I'll talk about this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. We haven't had an update from you in a while on the word search.
I have an update. Should we go through our update on the word search? Okay, everyone's got to put toothpicks in their eyes to stay awake as I go through a spreadsheet.
Are you going to screen
Let me
share?
see if I can bring up a spreadsheet here of... Yeah, Yeah, why not? Let's use our new visual superpowers. Is the spreadsheet. Now, don't worry too much. There's been a lot of work done on this, but uh, so this is BP 39 Classic, I call it. And the reason I call that is on a previous show, I talked about the BIP 39 list, which is a list of words that are used to create passphrases to get into cryptocurrency wallets. Now, why is this important? Number one, there's a word search. This is the word search in the past and future box. Number two, about a half of the text is dedicated to Bitcoin. So the BP39 list has a bunch of words on it, and there's a bunch of words obviously in the word search. So people have been selecting words that fit their narrative to create this phrase of there are 5 clues in this word search, but there hasn't been a whole lot of reasoning as to why we would include some letters or some words, but not other words. Okay, so last time I spoke about this, that if you highlight these words and take them out from the words that match the BIP39 list, you get very close to the consensus solution. However, there's a step further we can take it that gets it even closer. Now, I have to say, every time you add a new rule, a new step, you're getting further and further into confirmation bias, but I thought we'd explain it anyway. So this is what it looks like if you just use the BIP39 list. For those who are listening just to audio, I have the word search. I've taken out words on the BIP39 list, and we're left with a bunch of words that can anagram to a phrase. Probably best if you see the visual though as well. If I go here, actually, let me go back to this classic one. What was really missing was this count and this 11 down here, because that totally changes the phrases of what make up pretty easy to understand phrases. However, one thing with the BIP39 list is that all the words on the list, none of them repeat the first 4 letters. That stem of 4 letters is not the same between any of the words on the list. So what we could do is look at words on this list where the first 4 letters match the first 4 letters of words on the BIP39 list. If we take it that one step further, you can see that we have the word count and the word 11 comes in, but also you can see the word par, P-A-R-R, gets taken out as well for the word parrot on the BIP39 list. 11 gets taken because of elevator on the BIP39 list. Count gets included because of country on the BIP39 list. So it gets us a lot closer. Now the top half pretty much matches exactly with the consensus phrase. You can see there are 5 clues in this word search. Now you don't include the O's, but it's opening up a new phrase on the second half where we could get to something that says something slightly different than the current consensus phrase. And that's very exciting because I've always thought, look, it could be that the anagrams are correct, and I think it is correct. I've said before that the fact that it says word search in there is less than 1 in 10,000 by randomness. So there's definitely something there with the anagrams. But it's very possible that it's not exactly correct because no one can explain why it includes some words and not include other words. So, for example, last time I explained the fact that liar gets taken out, but line doesn't. This is by people who have no idea why, but it just makes the phrase make more sense. Well, there's a reason now why you would include one and not the other, and also include count and 11. So this is getting very close to something that makes anagrams out of the leftover letters that makes a whole bunch of sense. So am I crazy? Am I leading people down the wrong path? Is this a bunch of confirmation bias just trying to get me to a particular phrase? What do you think, management?
I was going to call a timeout there for a second. So while I'm ranting on my soapbox about what really grinds my gears with this word search, why don't you pull up the second consensus solve so we can show people what we're talking about and why this bugs me so much. So there's a lot of ways that you can solve this puzzle. And like Charles was saying, there's little pieces. There are 5 clues in this puzzle, in this word search, and then there's a whole long phrase, but it leaves gaps where there are certain letters that aren't used. And I'm like, okay, so along the lines of you using this BIP 39 list, or is it BIP 39? I don't know.
Yeah.
Along the lines of that, okay, so you're filling in the blanks and using all the words from it, but it's still leaving leftover letters. And I feel like if this is a true lead, right, all of the letters would have to be used in the anagrams. So maybe we're doing the anagrams wrong. Maybe we're using the wrong words, but in a clue theory puzzle world, my brain says you have to be able to apply the same rules all the time when you're working through a solve.
I think it's a very good point. And really, what we're really looking for, the ultimate solve, is one rule and everything falls out perfectly. But I think it's okay to kind of incrementally get there as well. Like we may get a little closer and then realize something of, actually, it's not quite the first 4 stems. It's something else similar that will get us to that rule. So even though I agree that we really need one rule, I don't think this is the end of it. Getting incrementally closer and trying different things is probably still a good step to progress towards that, is my feeling, at least.
Right. And have you seen any reasons to where people have theorized like state's on there twice, or state is on there once, or estate is on there once, or estate's on there twice, but nobody seems to use a state. They just use state. They back up to each other. Maybe that's something, but also 3 is in there twice, and it's forward once and in reverse the second time.
Yeah, well, either way, estate or state, they get taken care of both times, because you can see here, I've got on the screen here, this E is really the E in the estate we're talking about, right? And that E gets taken care of with the word 3. So it should be taken care of.
Right, but which word? I mean, it should be a clue, right? The word's a clue.
Could be either, but if you're just removing it and using the letters that are left, it doesn't matter too much either way, whether it was state or estate, since it's already taken care of anyway with 3. And I should point out, I think some of the parts you're talking about here is in the top left, right? QVU and BMA.
Yes.
Here are the ones you're talking about, right? Because it starts here. It starts on the second line. There are 5 clues, right? And then when you get to the very bottom, it kind of just trails off. And then you've got a bunch of letters down here too that are unaccounted for. So some people have reasons to believe in the corners there's a different rule. But I'm like you, every time you add a rule, it kind of gets further and further away from being likely that that's the ultimate solution. I'm interested though with this QVU, because when you see Q, you have to think, well, what's the other letter that has to be with the Q if it's a word? Almost always it's a U. So the fact that there's a U right next to it, now, QU, AMB, V, can't think of anything there, but maybe it's down here. I don't know. So I just keep looking at that QU thinking, there's got to be something with that it's right next to each other. It doesn't have to be. It could be random, but...
I saw a guy on the internet who he was of a certain age, and he was having trouble doing it in Excel. So he printed it out, and he taped all the rules around a cookie pin to make his own like cryptex, like you would have seen in the Da Vinci Code, so that he could spin them around and line them up to try to make words. So like a very complex bicycle lock.
Yeah, I think that could make sense. That's a very good idea, actually. But anyway, there's a few things I'm working on as well. I've got another theory completely different to all of this that I'm going to try. So I will let everyone know if it fails or succeeds in the future. But I mean, we're not excited because it's going to take a lot of work. But I'm working on something else for that as well. Okay, so word search. That's it for this week on the word search update. I'm sure people have heard a lot about the word search, maybe too much. But it continues to be one of the things that people focus on the most in the treasure hunt community.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind how in-depth people have gotten with the word search, because when you first got on this BIP 39 kick, I helped you with it that day. And I mean, it immediately sucked me in and I time traveled, and then it was like 6 hours later and I had gotten nowhere. So it's frustrating.
Okay, so That's the word search for the past and future box. But again, I don't want to move off the past and future box. It's still my favorite. One thing that people have been talking about is, which I thought was very interesting, is the coins. The coins, which we haven't talked about very much on the boxes. So all the boxes have their own special designer coin with something on them that's kind of giving you an extra clue of where it could be. Now, one thing about the past and future box coins that's interesting is the surface of the coin. That one side has the kind of angle. Some people think it's the border of California and Nevada, that angle. And by the way, I was going to say on the word search, state, apparently, the two states you were talking about have the same angle, I believe, which is similar to the lines on the coins. It's at a 135-degree angle type thing. The other thing, though, is it has a very rough moon-like rock surface on the coin. So some people have speculated that that in itself is a clue to where the treasure could be hidden. Now, there is quarry in the word search.
It's on the moon.
It's on the moon. Yeah, that's I don't know. Is the United States own the moon? He said it was in the United States. But what they were speculating was...
We own the Gulf of America now.
So they were saying that it could be in an area that has rocks that have that kind of surface, like that kind of holes all through them, that rough textured surface that moon rocks would have as well, and the surface of the coin has. So it's very interesting to me that, imagine if that was the main clue to get to the box, is you have to find an area that had those types of rocks, and no one was talking about it at this stage. Do you think that's something we should be looking into, or is it too broad to be able to narrow it down to any particular area?
I don't know, man. I've never really got the Tahoe theory, other than it just lines up with the coin, and I kind of need more than one, more than one thing to line up in order for me to believe that that's an actual clue, which is probably why I will never find the treasure, because I don't have that little thing called faith. I like facts. Mm-hmm. But the coin and the box both have the same texture on the outside, correct?
Yeah, the box has one smooth, he said glassy smooth, which I thought was another clue, and then this rough textured surface on the bottom, like the sides are glassy smooth, he says, smooth and rough. And then the coin itself is kind of similar. One side is rough, the other side is very shiny. It has a sheen to it, some might say.
And then I've also noticed, and I don't know, that if you look at the face of the box, it looks like it's kind of like waved like that. Mm-hmm. Yep. But I also read on, I think it was Reddit the other day, there was a discussion about how in the book even it says that, what's the guy's name? Seth Gould, who made the boxes, that he had artistic freedom for the boxes.
Yep.
So John Collins Black didn't really give him a whole lot of instruction. So how can it really be related to a clue or a hint? But also everything's intentional, so it can't just be like, huh. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think some things were artists. He was given artistic license, but other things he was probably very direct with. Like, I doubt Seth Gould came up with a bunch of different angles on the coins. I'm sure he was instructed to do those things. So he may have been told, hey, if you make a coin, I'd like to have some coins. Just make one side really rough, the other side not. And you can do whatever you want with the box, but make it also a bit rough, a bit smooth. Like, it could have been some general guidelines, and then Seth Gould took it upon himself to create the 3D structure with some basic guidelines of what to do, is what I'm thinking, at least.
Yeah, I see where you're at with that. But I'm thinking, and I'm really stuck on how state and the angle on the coin now are the same, because I think the coins in each individual box are a clue for their own box, but then also relate to the lion's share as well.
Yep, I think that's definitely possible. I think that's one of the great things we're going to find out. Like, we'll probably find, we're not going to find necessarily, but we'll find that someone found a box. And we'll think we've solved it. No, that was that box. That one's done. Then you'll find out that parts of that one pointed towards the lion's share. We'll find out much later, I think, as well. That's assuming that we find the smaller boxes first and then go to lion's share. later. But it isn't necessarily going to be in that order. But yes, there's going to be a lot of discovery. I think it's going to be very interesting that even after all the boxes have been found, perhaps we'll still find out more stuff later that were hidden in the book. Okay, so I also wanted to give an update on the treasure hunt token hunt of 2 weeks ago. Now, if you recall, 2 weeks ago, we had Copper Dan on the podcast. So I decided to make a hunt based off that. So the episode 12 hunt, since we're visual, I can show you what I'm talking about here. This is the hunt that was put up. So we got a guy here with a mountain in the background. Hopefully, if you realize what the mountain was made of, since Copper Dan was on the last podcast, it's actually a mountain made of copper, or as some might call it, Copper Mountain. Okay, now you'll see here, the solution is 2 words, 6 letters each. Okay, so making sense so far?
Yes, I'm following along with you.
Okay, so all you have to do is Google.
Even though I'm not allowed to play.
No, you're not allowed to play. It was for $20, Copper Mountain, and you're a treasure hunter, right? You listen to this podcast, want to hunt for treasure? Go hunt for treasure on this website. So you see, what's the final clue of this? What do you notice about this right here? Management.
The Taylor Swift heart hands.
Yes, I hate the heart hands, but I have to put it in here. Okay, do you see anything here that's related to that?
Snowboarder.
And not where my cursor is. On the page here.
Fast track? Copper
How about the
gear?
images?
Well, there's 3 people. Copper
and
hat.
One of them is doing what?
Oh, the hard hands.
Yes, right. Well, you really
can't
picked
see
it up
because of the
that little thing there. Yeah, right. I don't remember.
Okay,
like
I can't. In fairness, it's kind of hidden by the shadow box.
A bit of a shadow, yes, but I think it wasn't like that before. But anyway,
Yeah.
2 words, 6 letters each, right there. Online retail.
Oh,
Okay, that was the
very
solution for it. So you'll see here, online retail fits in. That was the answer to this week's hunt. Now, here's all the questers that came and did it. Can you guess who won it?
I'm gonna go with Jim.
Jim won it. This is Jim again down here. Jim won it again. He's absolutely killing it on these hunts. Every week he's cleaning up. Probably his second job is winning these hunts. But good job, Jim. He got it very quickly too. So I was very happy to see that. But again, another hunt solved this week. And Jim actually bought some treasure hunt tokens as well. So he's now off on the higher level hunts that treasure hunt tokens offer as well. So jump in on the free hunt. We're going to do it for another, let's say $25 this week for another free hunt. Try to beat Jim again this time. And feel free to buy some treasure hunt tokens to get involved and get to some of those higher level hunts as well. So we need a code this week. What can our code be? You're good at coming up with the codes. Let's have a code.
Trash Princess.
Trash Princess is the code this week. Let's make it all lowercase. 2 words, Trash Princess will be the code for this week. It's really fun. Get involved. I'd like to see more people jumping on this and giving Jim a run for his money.
Yeah, well, now that Jim's in the regular hunts, now that he has his membership with his treasure hunt token coins, he's going to have a little bit of competition from me because I'm allowed to play those, just not the free ones.
Good. That's good. That's good. I think Jim needs it. But he's also working on this treasure inside. I've been having a bit of a chat to him as well. Okay, so let's have a look.
Oh, good. I didn't realize he was... Do you know what box he's working on, or is he working on all of them?
I don't want to give it away in case he doesn't want everyone to know, but he has told me which box he's working.
Oh, man. Top secret.
Okay, well, that's pretty much going to cover it for this week. We've got a lot going on this week. We're only 11 days away from that documentary coming out where this treasure hunting community could just explode even further. So next week when we come back, it'll be a few days away until the documentary. I'm sure a lot of people will be talking about it. And then we've got another big hunt coming out we can talk about as well. So I think for a few years after this Forrest Fenn hunt, things were slow. It's just everything's happening right now in this community.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know how many treasures my brain can wrap around. Sometimes I apply the wrong box clues to a different box, so having a whole nother set of treasure clues in there, I don't know if I can compartmentalize that.
Well, that's what we're here for. We'll try and sort it out for everyone. Know what to look for. What's the place where people are most active at the moment, and we'll do our best to package this stuff and give it to you in something that's a little more edible and digestible. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening and watching this week, and we will speak to you in a week's time. See you later, everyone.